Welcome back to Spillin the Tee, the golf podcast for everyday golfers, where we pay, play, and spill the hot goss one round at a time. I'm Kurt, lifelong golfer, but don't mistake my tenure for talent, at least from this last round. I'm currently an 8.4 on the USGA Gin app.
I know you're saying you maybe had a rough round there, but did it affect your handicap?
It's going to.
It's going to. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm Eva. I'm addicted to golf. I am a 23 handicap and I love the snack bar and just happy to be here. So thanks for listening, everyone. This has been so fun. Thanks for listening to our first episode. Love you guys.
Yeah, something for everyone here, golfers and snackers alike. Every episode, we're going to play a different course and then break it down by price, playability, personality, and then we're going to rate that full experience on a 1 to 10 scale. 1 is never played again, and 10 is I'm paying my membership dues. I'm joining this club.
And we do not see each other's scores until the end because we're professionals, but we're also into the drama. So I have no idea what Kurt's score is, and he has no idea what my score is on the 1 to 10 scale.
Yes, more about the drama than the professionalism. This week's episode of Spillin the Tee is brought to you by the temporary tee box on hole 10. Nothing says relaxing round of golf like pulling up to a hole and immediately asking, wait, where do we tee off? Are we in hole 18's fairway? Oh, that's a ball coming at us. Awesome. This is fun.
The temporary tee box on hole 10 where the signs do nothing but confuse you. You have no idea where you're going. Choose your own adventure. And they should say, we hope you have some medical insurance because you're probably going to get hit.
For real.
That was weird.
Yeah, I did not like it. I even read the signs and still had no idea where we were going next.
So confusing. And I was really distracted by my cheeseburger at that point. Like I was picking up my snack at the turn. So I didn't have time to be like reading a map here. Very confusing. Didn't love it, but we'll get to that.
But we do thank them for being our sponsor this week.
Thanks for making it up.
But this week, we played Black Gold Golf Club in Yorba Linda, California. It was my second time playing this, but the first time I played, it was in a scramble tournament. And in a scramble, you're playing the best shot from all four golfers. So you don't have to worry about if your tee shot goes out of bounds, if you duff a chip shot, you kind of are leaning on your golf partners for making up for your mistakes. So a lot of the nervousness goes away and you pick and choose the best shot. So definitely a different experience playing a scramble. It was fun to play the course for real this time, but boy, was it a challenge.
This was my first time playing there, and I was so excited the week leading up. I always get excited when I'm playing somewhere new. I'm like a kid waiting for Christmas. I can't wait. I had seen and heard about this course quite a bit. When you look up good courses in the area for Orange County, it had come up many times. So I was excited to finally give it a visit. I'm really glad we played there. And I'm still pretty giddy from the experience. So, Curdy, this is your moment. Let's get nerdy with Curdy. Tell us a little bit more about Black Gold and who she is and where she's from and what she does and all that stuff.
That's right. Welcome to Nerdy with Curdy, where I do a little bit of research so you don't have to. And here's what I learned about Black Gold. Here's the basics. They were built in November of 2001, designed by Arthur Hills, and for par, distance, yardage, slope, all that good stuff. It's a par 72, 36 front, 36 back, and yardage and rating and slope. We're just going to talk about the tees that we played. So from your tee box, the red, the front nine was 2530. The back nine was 2407. So total just shy of 5,000 yards. The blue tees were 3219 on the front and 3220. So real similar front and back nine there for 6439 total. So a little bit longer than last week's course, but here's where things differed. The red tees, not too different from Anaheim Hills from last week, but a 70.2 rating with a slope of 126. And from the blue tees, which is where I played from, 71.5 with the slope 132. So for those that listened to our first episode, and the 132 is on the higher end there. So definitely fit that slope rating. And we talked about it on the course a little bit, but there's some courses where the fairway is different than the rough. So when you're fixing your divots, folks, which you should always fill your divots, sometimes they don't like you to fill it in the rough because it's actually a different cut of grass. But here, both the fairways and the rough is kikuya, which is a more drought tolerant grass.
Where does one discover what kind of grass is on the course? Did you call up the shop? Did you pick up some grass and smell it? Like, I'm really curious how you determined kikuyu grass, which I've never heard of.
Yeah, you pick it up, taste. No, I just a little bit of research. Some courses will tell you straight out. Anaheim Hills had some articles on it because they had just gone through some renovations and they won some awards for the recent changes that they had made. So a lot of that was pretty readily available. For Black Gold, it took a little bit more digging, but they are owned by Kemper Sports, who is a property and experience management company. So they manage some different golf courses all across the country. And they had some information on from when they took over, I think in 2020, they actually did some renovations as well. It depends on the course. Some of them, there's an about page on the website. Some of them, like this, you're familiar with Arcus Golf, so they manage some courses in the area. Some are independently owned, and it just depends on who's running their websites, how involved they want to get. And then there's places you can go like greenskeeper.com or places like that where you can find it. But a simple Google search usually turns up decent results.
That's really cool. I had no idea. Couldn't have known this stuff without you.
Yeah, and sometimes the type of grass matters. I've seen a few times in Starsky and Hutch where Snoop Dogg he's an informant and he's wearing a wire, but he's on the golf course with Vince Vaughn and he's tells him to hit his fairway wood versus hitting an iron, and he like Vince Vaughn doesn't trust him at first, but then he hits it and hits a good shot. And Snoop Dogg is like, "There's one thing I know, it's grass." But it's like the different type of grass will make a different shot. Sometimes hitting into the grain versus against or with the grain can affect your shots. So sometimes this stuff matters when you get really into it.
Yeah, I think it does, especially when you're like really focusing on lowering that handicap, especially in the single digits. Like, I think everything matters at that point.
Yeah, and there's a clip of Phil Mickelson talking about it when he's talking about all the calculations that they have to do in the morning. The ball is colder, so it's not going to go as far. If there's a little bit of moisture between the ball and the club, it's not going to go as far. If it's sitting in a certain way, you got to hit down on it or hit up on it, or it's going to be a fly or lie, which means it's going to go a little further. And those are all things that they calculate in the moment. For some people, that stuff really matters. For novices like us, we're just gripping it and ripping it. They've also got a lot of hills, very close to Anaheim Hills, actually. But walking is discouraged, but it's not allowed. You can walk if you want to, but I recommend taking the cart simply from the green to the tee. There's just a lot of holes where the next tee box is quite a ways away, and then there were a few holes that had quite elevated tee boxes, so wouldn't want to walk up those hills.
Yeah, no, I'm real glad we had some carts. Real glad.
Yeah. And one thing to know before you go, one, on the scorecards even, it says 90-degree rule, which I thought about talking about as well, which means your golf cart, you can go in the fairways, but you have to go 90 degrees from where your ball is. So you drive down the cart path all the way until you get to essentially where your ball is, and then you can cut over. So sometimes, you can cut into the fairway right away and you're driving around like the fairway is the freeway, but the 90-degree rule limits the amount of time that you're in the fairway and it's protecting the grass and all that stuff. So I was actually surprised that they let us drive pretty much wherever we wanted within reason, but
Is the 90-degree rule, I feel like I've read that as kind of standard golf etiquette. Is that not the case?
yeah, it's best. It's good practice. And if you're a good, decent enough golfer, there's no reason to drive in the fairway. But sometimes, especially when you have a playing partner and you're in two totally different locations, like if you're
Yeah,
220 out on the left side and I'm 260 out on the right side, we're kind of far away. It doesn't make sense for us to go up to where your ball is, cut over, and then cut straight back to the cart path and up. You can just go straight,
right,
shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. So it's just faster to go through the fairway.
right.
But
Yeah, makes
yeah, if
sense.
you're protecting the grass, it's best to practice 90-degree rule. But most people, they're in a golf cart, they're having a good time, maybe a few drinks, and you just want to drive that thing wherever you go. Like I was telling you, there's two modes when I'm in the golf cart. It's stopped or pedal to the metal.
I need a seatbelt.
Signature holes. I didn't think there was anything that I would really call a signature hole, but I put down holes 9, 11, or 13 as potential. Hole 9, I really liked. You're headed up into the clubhouse. You're hitting over some bunkers. I don't know. I just really like that hole. I also happen to have a decent drive on that hole. You're overlooking Anaheim a little bit in Yorba Linda, so you can see Disneyland from that fairway. Hole 11 also is pretty narrow tee shots, but then coming back up the hill to the green, so kind of a little valley there. I thought that was a fun hole. And then 13, that's the par 5. I have my own reasons for liking that hole, but that is kind of a downhill blind tee shot almost. That's the one where the group behind us kind of hit into us. But it's a par
Yeah.
5 with an elevated green against. You're going down and then back up a hill, protected by bunkers. And I think 18 was probably their signature hole when it had water on the green.
Yes, definitely.
And then one thing to know before you go, when we talked to the starter before the round, he said everything breaks towards Disneyland. And I asked, is that because Mickey sucks? And he chuckled. He said, no, it's because all the golfers are goofy. So a lot of good
Oh,
puns there, but definitely true. The greens, everything does break towards Disneyland. So you always got to know where Anaheim or where Disneyland is. And the greens are all going to break that way.
yeah, not great for someone who's directionally challenged like me. It wasn't the clearest day, so you could see Disneyland a little bit, but not like totally. And sometimes you couldn't see it at all because you're like in a canyon.
Yeah. There's definitely times you have no idea where it is. You're just kind of relying on instinct, I guess, and trying
Yeah.
to read the greens just naturally. But it helps to know kind of the general direction because everything is going to break that way. I definitely found that to be true.
Yes.
Fun, weird, historic facts. This was something fun that I learned in my research. Black gold was built on Shell oil land, which is why it got the name Black Gold. You know, oil is back in the day, they called it black gold, Texas tea. So that was how it got its name. And it definitely makes sense. I had no idea. I thought it was like black and gold because I've heard that before too, but it's black gold.
Yep.
Didn't realize it was the connection to oil. And then, as we were just talking about, from their website, so they need to update this. It's a stunning waterfall off the 18th green, which we, of course, learned doesn't exist anymore.
It doesn't exist. In fact, the sign on the 18th green said, "Don't feed the alligators." So,
Yeah, were no alligators in that lack of a pond.
I'm not gonna do that. Mm-mm.
And then the other thing that I thought was worth noting, this is the last part of Nerdy with Curdy, but this course got a lot of recognition. So they have a whole section of their website just for their recognition. But in greenskeeper.org, they were a winner of best playing conditions or worth the green fee. They got worth the green fee in 2017, 2018, and 2019. And then a whole slew of awards from Southland Golf. They were like best in Southern California, number 2 best greens in Southern California, best scenic view, best 19th hole, best course in Orange County, best 18th hole. There's a whole bunch of awards on here if you go to their website. I'm not going to read them all, but just a whole lot of recognition that they've received, different ratings, the GRA top 50, Orange County Register's giving them some awards. They've won Golf Digest 4.5 stars, best places to play, preferred golf club for the Anaheim Resort and Disneyland Resort hotels. So definitely one of the top courses. Yeah, recognition all over the place.
Dang, I didn't realize she was such a stunner.
We'll put the link in the show notes. All right. Well, that's all the nerdy stuff. So let's talk about what the people are saying.
Yeah, well, obviously she's a baddie. I did do some research when I went to book the reservation. It was more just like checking out reviews. I checked out like Google reviews and Golf Now and all that stuff. And from what I saw across the board, there were good reviews. A lot of courses that I play regularly are around like the 4 out of 5 Google review or Yelp, 4 out of 5 stars. This one was like across Golf Now, across Google, across Yelp, was like 4.5 and above. So that indicated to me that people love the place. So Here's what we've got here. The people are saying good things about it. Alan said 5 days ago, course in great condition, fairly fast play. SFE 6 days ago said great course, great design, great rangers, great price. I love a short and sweet review, great feedback, and I'd have to agree.
Yeah, 100%. Fairly fast play. We finished, I think, the front in just under 2:15 or something around that, and we were actually behind pace. One
We
thing
were.
I do like with those carts, it gives you that pace of play so you know if you're on track or not, and they'll give you little alerts. And then the ranger was out there monitoring things too, but really kind, wasn't too aggressive. Sometimes you get those pace of play sticklers
Yeah.
because we were only 6, 7 minutes behind pace, and we were still keeping up with the group in front of us, so it wasn't really on us. Great design. I guess that is technically true, though I wasn't a fan of it, but that's more about how I played and not the course design itself. So trying to separate that from my ego.
Throughout the day at different times, I found myself just kind of like looking around and taking it in. I thought it was just really gorgeous out there. We have a critical review here from Jong Lee 3 weeks ago. And Jong is, I think, a little bit tortured here. He says, decent course, but expensive. Didn't find any of the holes memorable. And some of the bunkers are hard pan underneath. So Jung had an interaction with a bunker here. He continues, lots of distance from the green to the tee and quite a bit of elevation. Cut in the middle of a residential canyon neighborhood with lots of homes. But nice covered driving range. So Jong is all over the place here, but I get what he's saying. I think it's funny that he says lots of distance, like he's complaining about that. I mean, I'm there for the yardage, right? The more yardage I get out of a course, I feel like I'm getting more bang for my buck.
Yeah, I thought it was great. He says nice covered driving range. Yeah, I guess that's true. But it's just the part where you're standing underneath it and, keeps the sun out of your where you're standing for that. But the course, yeah, it was great. I don't know if I agree with Jong Lee's assessment. He says lots of distance from green to tee. Yeah, that's true.
All right, so let's break down the round.
Well, we're gonna break down my round, huh?
Well, let's break them both down.
Yeah. Well, first up, price. It was what was it? 175, 176 for the round, and that's with a cart. And then we both got a small bucket, so $6 for a small bucket, which for a range price, that's a really good deal.
Really good.
Like Oak Creek by me, $15 for a small bucket, so more than double the 250% markup on their buckets. But yeah, that was a pretty good deal, and our tee time was 9:30 on a Sunday, so prime time weekend golf. We booked it through the course website. I thought the price was pretty fair. It's on the higher end, but we're in Orange County, so you're going to pay a little bit more than you would in, say, Wisconsin, where I'm from. Maybe a little high, but my only caveat with that was that hole 10 situation and the construction that also affects hole 18. Maybe some discounted rates for that situation, but what I'm guessing is that maybe they're going to bump up the price once they finish that construction, and that's maybe how they justified it. But that's my only gripe with the price. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm willing to throw down for good golf for an elevated experience. I think that the course was beautiful. I thought it was even breathtaking, I would say, in some places. The conditions were good. Sometimes when I play out here in like Irvine or Tustin, I'm stepping in mud and things like that. That was not the case here. It was in good condition, clean. The carts were nice, the little details were good. And like you said, we're in Orange County. It is a little more expensive. There's definitely places you can play at 9:30 on a Sunday and only pay $60, but you're going to get the $60 course, right? And I do think we got the $175 course. In most ways, I feel like they hit the mark with the price. I was so glad to see like a warm-up area. Nothing pisses me off like going to a really expensive course and you're hitting into a net. Like that drives me bonkers. What else? Good pace. And then in some other ways, Kurt, I think there could have been a little more attention to detail that would have elevated the experience just a little bit. It's a great facility, great staff. beautiful course. I just think things like when I pulled up, the bag drop was not intuitive. That could have been easier. I just parked and then I saw there's an easy up over there for the bag drop. I wish that that was a little more clear. I didn't know what that was when I was driving by it. The turn was a little bit confusing with all the construction signage. The 10th tee should not have required the effort that we spent on it. That was stupid. The sign should have been clearer there. Um, Not anything that was a deal breaker for me, but I think just little things that would enhance the experience and move the needle. I think that they can step up a little.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The turn was a little difficult. I think they could have done some things to make it a little bit nicer for the overall experience, but course-wise, I think it was a great condition. All right. Well, that's price. Now let's talk about how it actually played, which is where I'm going to be tough on it. It just required a lot of accuracy off the tee, which, if you know me, that's not my strong suit. I just wasn't playing well, but just a lot of narrow fairways, a lot of accurate tee shots. Or one of my biggest gripes, which happened a couple times here, is like right where I am, like where I think I can hit my drive. There's like a gap in the fairway with the cart path running through it, or there's a hazard, or the fairway narrows to like 10 yards wide. I suppose maybe they do that intentionally for the golfer to make it hard, or maybe my distance is right in that spot where they're not designing it for someone like me. But yeah, it was just tough course. I struggled a lot. A lot of it was due to poor playing, but also just tough course management.
It seemed like you ran into those hazards quite frequently on that course. Like if you were going to take a drive, you had to kind of modify what you were going to do. So playability wise, I thought that the course was tough. I think that most golf courses are tough as a new golfer. I struggle pretty much wherever I go, but I had been warned ahead of time that this was going to be hard. My buddy I had talked to that morning was like, you better text me after your round. I want to know what you shoot. And we play together. We have a similar handicap and we both suck. I knew he wanted to know to like compare himself. If he thinks it's hard, then it's going to be really tough for me. So I was like, noted, right? And then on my own, I looked at the slope, which is usually something I do before the round just to kind of see where it falls in comparison to the other places that I placed. So I was thinking, okay, it's going to be easier than Tustin Ranch for me, but harder than Rancho San Joaquin. And that it would feel kind of in my zone, right? And it did not. It felt to me way harder. The terrain was just different, but the slope that I read on the website did not prepare me for how hard it was. And the scorecard kind of told the story for me because I scored a 106, which is still really good for me. I'm tickled if I break 110, but what I'm trying to do this year is break 100 consistently. That's my goal for this year. And so when I play Rancho San Joaquin, when I play Tustin Ranch, I'm right around that area. I'm usually like 98 through 105. So I was on the higher end, but this week I came in with a better attitude. I decided to go in like really focused on my mental game. I just wanted to go in to have fun. I was trying to stay present, even though the course was tough and I was frustrated at a lot of points. It was really hard for me to hit a green in regulation, which is always a challenge for me, but was especially challenging for me yesterday. I'm not a long hitter. Would I consider this course beginner friendly? Probably not. You're going to be challenged the whole time. So the greens were also insane for me. The Disney trick was very confusing because I need like a compass because I just like don't know where I am. I'm all turned around. Lots of hills, lots of weird lies. So it was an interesting day, but we don't choose golf because it's easy, right? It's hard and frustrating. It was a challenge, but I'm here for it.
Yeah, definitely a challenge. And as poorly as I played, I still enjoyed it. And then speaking of playability, some holes played a lot better than others, some we liked more than others, so let's talk about the holes that stood out to us.
I liked hole 1. She set the mood right there. It was beautiful. I mean, it's 9:30 on a Sunday, the sun's shining, Southern California, gorgeous. It's a downhill hole, and so when you drive down, it's just rolling hills all the way down. You can't see the target. That kind of set the mood for the whole day.
I I liked the look of hole 1 from the tee box, but in playing it, I was not a fan. Started
Right.
off right out the gate with a hole where I can't hit driver. If I hit driver, I go too far as a little dogleg left and then down the hill. So I took a 5 iron off the tee, but hit it a little thick and got it into the fairway, but not very far. So it was on this downslope. So then my 3rd shot at the green, it was hard to hit a nice chip shot. You're on a down slope, so you're already kind of hitting down on it, and I just sculled it past the green, and it was just game over from there.
The only reason 6 stood out for me was because I finally got my freaking par. We were chasing par up to that point.
Yeah,
I don't think either of us had gotten a par, and I was like, "What is happening out here?" Hole 6 is followed by 7 and 8, which are both par 3s, which I've never seen that before, a back-to-back par 3.
yeah, definitely not something you see normally. Most courses like to try to spread out not only the par 3s, but also the par 5s, the things that break up the par 4s. A lot of it has to do with the layout of the course, but for the most part, you can kind of set those where you want and then design it around that, but it might have been a layout situation for them. I think in that little valley, they only had a certain amount of distance they could use because we kind of went up with the one and then back with the other. So it's kind of in that same valley. I think it was more about the layout and the design than by choice. You don't see that often.
And hole 10 had temporary tees. They had a temporary tee for black, blue, and white, and then a temporary tee for gold and red. So we were trying to find the blues for you and ended up like, where were we?
So we stopped at the snack shack, got our drinks and food, and then you drive down and it's hole 18 coming at you, coming at the clubhouse. And I don't know where hole 10 normally is. I'm guessing it's to the left of that water. I heard someone use the word sinkhole, so I don't know if something happened and they had to drain it or what. But anyway, I saw these signs that said hole 10T, but I walked up and the only thing I saw was hole 18's green, and there was absolutely nowhere for me to set a tee shot, and I'm not hitting it directly over these people's heads. So I was like, well, that's weird. And then I saw a sign literally next to the sign that I first saw said hole 10T in the middle of 18 fairway because I saw no tee box, but we drove up to your tee box, which was literally in the middle of the fairway, which is the tiny little 10 by 10 fence with netting to protect you. But like that was it. And then you're on this like literally a box with carpet to hit your tee shot at the green, crossing through hole 18's fairway. Then that's when I saw that there was one of those boxes and one of those fence guardrails to the left of that green. I just didn't go to the left of the green because it was out of the way and not where I would have intuitively gone. So it was
Right.
just a nightmare all around. The tee box was literally a box of wood with artificial turf on it, and I hate hitting off a turf to begin with. You can't put a tee down into that, so hitting it off the turf, I was already feeling pressure from the group behind us and the amount of time it took us to find the tee box. I was feeling them coming around the corner, so I like dropped my ball and just hit. So yeah, 10 not my favorite.
Yeah, I felt rushed too because I was trying to eat my cheeseburger, and also the cart kept telling us like, speed it up.
But
So
yeah,
right at 10 is when it started telling us like, you're behind pace. So it was just a little bit stressful. I really wish that they would have acknowledged that more upon signing up, or, give us a free drink or something. There's ways to make that feel a little better than it did, I think.
yeah, it's like a lot of I've seen Instagram reels of people that gripe about punching the greens when they do aeration for the greens and they don't tell you before you pay your green fee. And so you pay and then like, oh, by the way, we aerated the greens.
I want to know what I'm getting into.
Yeah. One of the holes that I liked that I threw in there was hole 13. While I was disappointed with my overall score, I was on the green in two and it was a par five. So even though I hate three putting, I still got a par out of the deal. But it was that downhill blind tee shot. So I knew I could kind of hit my ball to where that cart path was, but I knew it's downhill. So if I can get past it, I'd be in good shape. And I hit a really good tee shot down the hill, ended up being a good spot, and then hit my second shot onto the green, just cleared those bunkers and was on that green. But huge sloping green. I hate to make excuses, but a little bug flew on my ball, and I'm still not in the headspace where I should stop my swing or I can stop my swing. So like it's happened where I do my backswing and a blade of grass will like fall onto my ball or like something is flying around my ball in my backswing. And what you should do is stop and regroup. And so I hit behind it and didn't hit it the way I wanted to. And a really slopey green. So ball was peeling off to the left, was further away than I wanted to be for my second putt and just missed it for a tap in. But really liked the hole overall. I don't think our partners liked it because the group behind us was hitting into us. They were looking for their ball for quite a while. And with that blind tee shot, they couldn't see us down there. And yeah, we're hitting into us.
That bug, that bug. What a did it. I'm really sorry.
And then the other one I liked was hole 15. This hole, our playing partner, Christian, side note, Christian works at Anaheim Hills. So our first episode, Anaheim Hills, second episode, we get paired up with someone who works at Anaheim Hills. So definitely gonna have to go back and visit our guy Christian. Shout out. And then Christian's dad, Tony, it was his birthday. So birthday round was fun. But hole 15, he and I both had really good drives, both chipped on, put it pretty close. He was just a little outside of where I was, so he putt first and made his birdie. As soon as he made it, I was like, oh, he stole my birdie. And sure enough, even though I got the read from him, I just played a little bit too far outside and missed barely. But glad to see he got a birdie for the day. And it's fun little hole, short hole.
Our one and only birdie for the day, I think, on all the scorecards. I think that was
Yeah.
it. So, well done, Christian. Yeah, we all needed that. And then 18, I just love ending on a par 5. It was long, and I think you're right in saying that that's probably their signature hole if there's water out there towards the end, but what we saw yesterday was just construction. Tony actually hit his ball right into the construction site, and I saw Christian jump the fence and go grab it for him. So that's where the water is usually.
Yeah, solid way to end. I agree. And another good drive for myself, which I was happy with. I chose to lay up and put it close, chipped on to finish off with a par, one of few for the day that I had. So they have a really beautiful clubhouse, or 19th hole, Derek's, I think is what it's called.
Yeah,
And that overlooking 18th green with the waterfall without construction and fake tee boxes and temporary fences, I think it would have been beautiful, but all of that
yeah,
stuff was there. So
yeah, let's go back. We'll just have to go back, check it out.
yeah, wait for construction to be done. Well, that was playability. So let's talk a bit about her personality. I think she's a dance mom. She got a lot of accolades. She's got a facelift and she's got celebrity friends with, Mickey and Goofy down there, but she doesn't quite have the talent that she used to. So she's living vicariously through her teenage daughter. That's what I wrote.
Yeah, I mean, this girl for sure has personality. As soon as I pulled into the neighborhood, coming into the club, I recognized lots of signage, like driving through the neighborhood. She knows who she is. She's not confused. Branding is everywhere. She's proud of who she is. Those are the vibes that I got. I think this helps in every round. Playing partners make all the difference. You can have real losers or you can just have really good people. And for the most part, my experience has been really positive. I could count on one hand the people who I wouldn't golf with again. But we had really good playing partners, and we'll definitely be seeing them again. Shout out to both of them. I want to go back. And I was thinking that yesterday when we were out there. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to play it again. And I'm already excited to go back. So my takeaway was even though she beat me up a little bit, I want to go back for more.
Yeah, same. I've had two experiences there now, one in a scramble and one regular rounds. I always like to play a course at least twice. You play it once, you have no expectation, you don't know what it's like. The blind tee shots are always tricky when you don't know where you're going. A couple of holes had blind approach shots versus blind tee shots. So would love to play it again, do some things differently. But yeah, I would go back for sure.
Yeah, same.
Great. Well, I think it's time for a moment of truth. We're
Okay,
gonna
yeah.
rate this course.
I'm really excited to hear your rating because I think last time we figured out about each other that I'm a little bit of a tougher critic when it comes to giving the number. You're much nicer about it. Again, 1 is never again, don't wanna play it. 10 is I'm here for it, put me on the membership list, can't wait to come back. Kurt, let's see it.
Well, first, I think I have to adjust Anaheim's score. I think I might have come in a little too hot with that one.
I don't think you
Yep.
can do that.
I gave him an 8.4, but so not a lot of room to grow, but maybe I'll have to make my decimal points mean a little bit more. I don't think that this was a 10 by any means. I'm
Mm-mm.
thinking Augusta National, those PGA courses that I'll probably never even play, but those are probably 10s. My baseline for 10 is something that I can actually play or would actually play. Hindsight being what it is, would definitely have given a little bit lower score to Anaheim just to have some room for growth. Certainly would put this higher than 8.4 if I gave it Anaheim an 8.4, but
Right.
I don't know because I don't wanna give them, like, a 9.2 and then have nowhere to go after this. Let me write my score.
While you're thinking about yours, I did mine ahead of time and I gave her a 7.7. Let's go.
C plus is good. C's get degrees. I had an 8.9 written down, but while you were talking, I was just thinking a little bit, and I reduced it just by a tenth. I landed with an 8.8.
Nice. Okay.
I went with 8.8. I had 8.9, but I think you're right. I think there's just some tweaks, and I really tried to not think about the construction. I think they're dealing with something, and they'll get there, and I think they're doing what they needed to do. I don't wanna have that take away too much from the score, so I tried to score without that.
Yeah. And I think that's normal, right? Courses constantly need upkeep. Okay. I like the 8.8, Kurt. Definitely elevated from Anaheim Hills. I was wondering how you were going to score this based on how you played. I know you were a little frustrated yesterday, but
Yeah. But trying to stay positive and trying to keep my mental game sharp. I can sometimes be a club tosser, as you maybe saw at Anaheim Hills. I only had the one, but I've been known to throw a club or two, and but trying to not do it. It's no fun for anyone. It makes your playing partners feel uncomfortable, and it doesn't make you play any better. But I'm someone I need to let my frustration out a little bit. So
yeah,
trying to find other ways to do that or forget about it. Next week, I got mixed feelings. It's a course that I play a lot, so I'm feeling confident about my ability to score well, but it is Costa Mesa, and we're gonna have to plan at least 6 hours for the day.
I have never played Costa Mesa because of its bad reputation. I have just heard not great things. The main thing that I've heard about it is that it takes forever, and nothing bugs me more. When the pace is longer than 4.5 hours, I get a little bit like it's too much. And so I think because we have so many options here in Southern California, I don't play places that are gonna take up that much time. So I am also feeling a little bit bittersweet about it. I'm excited though. I mean, I'm excited to hang out and do the pod, but I think that Costa Mesa Country Club she's got a lot to prove. And coming off the back of Anaheim Hills and then Black Gold, maybe some tough placement in the roster here, but we got to do it. We got to do it. A lot of people play this. It's always busy. The reason that it's always backed up is because the tea times are so close together and they're always booked. So people must
Yeah,
love it.
the price is hard to beat in Southern California, and they keep it in really good condition, which I do like. So if
Okay.
pace of play
All
wasn't
right.
a factor, I'd play there way more often, but I avoid it just because of pace of play, but we'll talk about that in the next episode.
All right. I can't wait, man.
Yeah, please rate, like, subscribe so we can build our empire.
Yes. And we've got Instagram slowly but
Yeah.
surely. So please follow us. We'll put it in the show notes. Send us your hot takes, your notes. Tell us where we should play next. We definitely want to hear back from our listeners and fill your divots.
Fill your divots.
All right.